never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Hopefully you're looking forward to another busy weekend, and hopefully you are ready for the weekend and you have either all or the majority of the weekend off. Today here on the channel, I want to talk about a guy that has the personality of a tree. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But first, last weekend in the world of NASCAR, all three national touring series were at Texas Motor Speedway. Last Friday night, Kyle Busch won the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, followed by Corey Heim, Nick Sanchez, Christian Eckes, Zane Smith, Daniel Dye, Taylor Gray, Tanner Gray, Stephen Parsons, and Ty Majeski. And it was another great truck race. I have been a huge fan of the Craftsman Truck Series ever since it was the original Craftsman Truck Series. And of course it went to Gander Truck Series. Then it was the Camping World Truck Series. But now it's back to being Craftsman. But to me, the Truck Series has always had great racing. A lot of times the truck race is better than the Xfinity race or the Cup race, and it's almost always more competitive. And it's unfortunate that more people don't watch the Truck Series because it's always made for good racing. Saturday afternoon we had the Xfinity boys on the track at Texas, and the race was won by Sam Mayer, followed by Ryan Sieg, Justin Allgaier, AJ Allmendinger, and Cole Custer rounded out. The top 5, 6 through 10 was Austin Hill, Ryan Truex, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, and Anthony Alfredo. Now, Ryan Sieg has been around the Xfinity Series for many years. I think he's almost 37 years old now. He's been there for at least a decade, if not longer. He's never won a race. This is about the 5th or 6th time he's finished second, and it looked like he had this race won. He had about a 18 or 19 car length lead with about a lap and a half to go, and on the final lap, Sam Mayer caught him, and they finished side by side. And if you've ever seen Little Rascals, where Alfalfa wins the race, and he has that long hair, and they say, winner by hair. Well, there was no hair involved, but that's about how close this race was. Mayer and Sieg side by side, and Mayer won, and I think it was the closest finish, or the second closest finish in Xfinity Series history. Ryan Sieg is going to win a race one of these days. He drives for an underfunded team, and how they're so competitive, I'll never know. He's from Tucker, Georgia. I believe he owns the team, or at least the majority of the team. So it would have been a great story had he been able to win the race, but it just goes to show that racing ain't rigged. What happens, because it'd make for a great storyline if he could win the race. He was close, but one of these days he'll get it done. And then Sunday afternoon we had the Cup Boys at Texas, and going into this race I was dreading it for whatever reason. Texas normally has just terrible racing. The cars get spread out. There's not much side-by-side racing. There's not much passing. There's not many cautions. Texas just has not been any good in 10 years. And that's why they went from 2 races down to 1. So going into the race, I thought, man, this race is going to be terrible. The only good thing that could happen is if by some chance Kyle Busch comes from starting dead last to finishing in the top 10. But outside of that, this race is going to be terrible. But it was actually an amazing race. The only bad part was the winner, the guy that has the personality of a tree, Chase Elliott. He comes home with the win, followed by Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, and Daniel Suarez. Chase Briscoe, Darrell Wallace Jr., Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, and Carson Hocevar rounds out the top 10. And the NASCAR ratings for this past Sunday on the TV side were up, I think, 4% from the same race last year. So the TV ratings continue to slowly go up. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it, but the talent nowadays in NASCAR is better than ever. Anybody that says there's no talent is crazy. The talent is amazing. And here lately, the big complaint on NASCAR is that, yeah, the racing is good, the drivers are good, if not great, but they don't have a superstar like we had when we had Richard Petty. And then you had Jeff Gordon. And then you had Jimmy Johnson. And of course, you had Tony Stewart during that time too. And Tony Stewart was very good, but most people watched because they wanted to see him lose, because for some reason most people couldn't stand Tony Stewart. But NASCAR doesn't have the superstar driver it had during all those years with Petty's and Gordons and Earnhardts and Jimmy Johnson and all that. But still top to bottom better racing. But honestly, Chase Elliott could possibly be that superstar they need. He's a really good driver. He just has no personality at all. You can't really push somebody that has no personality. Nobody wants to see Chase Elliott talk. Nobody wants to see anything at all about Chase Elliott. He's popular because he's Bill's son, but he's actually very talented. But Chase Elliott has the same attitude whether his dog dies or if he wins a race. He just gets out, yeah, man, I just can't say enough about my team today. Had a great car, got a great team, it's a great track. We had a good race today. Looking forward to doing it again next week. It's like, holy cow, Chase. Don't show so much emotion. Whatever you do, don't get excited. So you really can't push somebody that if people see them, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is the best you've got. And he is an amazingly talented race car driver. He just has absolutely no personality at all. You better off walking outside, finding a tree, and talking to it than talking to Chase Elliott. Now, if you like somebody that's boring but good, then he's your man. But this weekend, there is no trucker race. We know they run way fewer races than Xfinity or Cup. So the trucks have this weekend off and next weekend off, and they're back in action on the first weekend in May. But we do have the Xfinity boys and the Cup boys on track. Tomorrow afternoon, 4 o'clock, we have the Ag Pro 400 for the Xfinity Series. And then Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, we have the Geico 500 for the Cup Boys. And both those races are at Talladega. Any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. My first home had a 4-foot ceiling. I couldn't stand living there. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.